Kevin here with etrailer, and today we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the Coleman Mach soft start kit for RV air conditioners. If you've ever been at a really busy campsite, you know the campground electric typically isn't the best condition, and a lot of times everyone's air conditioners are all kicking on at the same time, so it's a big power draw on the campsite's power grid. So a lot of other manufacturers have come up with different versions of soft start kits, and Coleman Mach has one themselves as well. It's going to match right up with their AC units, so that way you can store energy inside of that and make that initial draw just a lot lower, so you aren't having to really run your unit and the compressor as hard, and have that actually run a little bit smoother, so that way you can get a little bit more lifespan out of your unit. Coleman Mach does it right. They're going to give you a bracket that's going to help you mount this up using the existing mounting holes that are already in that front plate. It's going to cover up our unit up front here where our air actually blows down into our trailer. Now, super simple on that aspect. The difficult side here is when you are wiring into your solenoids. Can be a little bit dangerous just because there is power sometimes already in one of those solenoids, so just make sure you are being safe. There are discharge instructions as well if you ever needed to work on the soft start, because like I said, this is going to be holding a bunch of energy, so it can help start up our AC unit. So the big thing here when it comes to wiring is going to be just making sure that you first determine what your model number is. That's going to be a sticker right over where the solenoid panel is, so that when you pop that off, you can look right over at it. Make sure that you're getting the correct instructions, because the way that you're going to wire this is going to be dependent on the specific model that you have. So if you don't have that right model number figured out, make sure that you reach out. You can reach out to us. A lot of the time, I find it down inside on the bottom of our unit. So if you pull down the air distribution box and you look up the inner lip where the air blows through, there's usually a sticker on there that's going to have your model number. So that way you don't have to get up on the roof, pull a bunch of stuff off just to figure out what you got before you buy your soft start. After that, honestly, following the instructions, they did it super nice. I've done a few other soft starts in my past, and these were the most clear instructions I've had out of all the different ones I've done. So really, just nice job overall for them. But that being said, since you are working with high voltage stuff here, it can be a little scary, especially you don't want, obviously, your AC unit to have any issues. So if you just don't feel confident doing this yourself, definitely reach out, use our dealer locator, and you can find a shop near you to get it professionally installed. If you are wanting to do this yourself, then stick around and I'll walk you through the process. So right now we are installing a Coleman Mach unit, and we're going to be installing the Coleman Mach soft start for it as well. Now, since we already have the cover off, our outer shroud, that black plastic that goes over this, we have all of our screws taken out of the top here, so that way we have better access to our wiring. Just makes sense to do it right now. So if you're in that mode where you're installing this, there's going to be 4 screws that you'll have to take out of the shroud, and then for this you technically don't have to remove the top. I'm going to do it just so it's easier for you guys to see at home down into here where the solenoids are, so you can see exactly what I'm doing with the wiring. But when it comes to that, there's just 2 screws you'll pull out of this little side panel here, and the directions that are included with the kit will walk you through exactly how to do it, and I'll also obviously show you how to do it myself with our video here. Alright, so we're going to have this bracket. It's going to mount up using the existing screws. There's going to be one down here, one up top. We've already taken that top one out. I got to get the bottom one out though. And then on the back side of our soft start, we're going to have some double-sided tape. We can peel that back, and our 4 holes here are going to match up with the 4 holes on here. So make sure that when you do place it onto the bracket, you are making sure it's nice and centered. Alright, happy with that. Press that down for a little bit, let that take. Alright, now I'm going to remove this lower screw here. Get our bracket set up. I'm going to get the bottom screw put right back in. We can grab our top screw too. But for the top screw, I am also going to have to get our lid back in place as well. So I think I'm going to wait on that just so that, like I said, so you guys can really see what we got going on with the wiring. So I'll get that one in last. Now in your kit, you're going to have 2 different screws. One's a little bit smaller, and one is going to be a self-tapper. It's a little bit longer. That one's going to be for low-profile units. and the smaller one is going to be for the standard style unit like we have today. So I'm going to put 4 of these in. We've got 4 holes, and that's going to drill right through the bracket here that we just put on. Now our next step is going to be routing over our wiring. We're going to go under this motor right here and come up over this side here. We're going to clean off this sealant, and there's also going to be a strain relief collar we're going to remove. We'll pop all that out. We'll pass our wiring in to where all the capacitors sit, and we're also going to have a replacement collar too, so you'll probably bust that one up taking it out. Might as well just throw this on now just so that you don't accidentally forget. That way it's all good to go. Make sure that you just have the outer side here, the nicer finishing side, facing out, and the pushed in part facing towards the inside where the capacitors sit. Route that over. We're going to have some zip ties in our kit too. We want to make sure that we use those to help kind of prevent the wiring from touching anything else. We want this staying with the rest of the harness. We don't want it touching the copper. All right, I got that sealant out. Honestly, this one's in, good shape because it's brand new, so I might not even really need that collar. We could probably just pass this through. Now, if this is an older unit and you're replacing stuff, it might be a little bit different story. But I'm going to just reuse our previous one, but I will have to go wire by wire just because the spade connectors are already on here. There we go. And this was just like butyl tape almost. It's still real soft, so we can easily reform that over here. Now on the left side here, we're going to have 2 screws in this panel. We're going to remove. And here you can see our capacitors. And this is also where we had our wiring come through. Now we need to determine which way this needs to be installed on here, and that's going to be based on your model number. So this is where you can find all that information. There's this sticker right here. It tells you your model number, your sealing number, and then the sealing assemblies, so the air distribution boxes that would go with it, and a bunch of other information just based on your electrical ratings, what things are going to run at. All right, now that we have our wiring pulled in here, we've got our cover off, what we're going to do is we're going to look for our run capacitor. Now there's a couple things in there they tell you to remove. So the original start capacitor and the PTCR, if you have that in there, and they have little pictures of it in the manual, so that way you can see exactly what that's supposed to look like. Our unit doesn't have that today, so we don't even have to worry about it. But the next step that they tell you to do is to pop out your white wire on your run capacitor. We're going to cut that little spade terminal off, and then the white wire that came from our start capacitor, we're going to be attaching it to that. Now they tell you to use one of the included wire nuts, but wire nuts can come loose, especially with it being braided wire and then with the trailer bouncing around on the road as it drives around. So instead, I'm going to use a butt connector so that way I don't ever have to worry about it coming undone. If we had more of the crimp-on wire nuts, like what the manufacturer used for the AC unit itself, that'd be one thing. These wire nuts I'm not too sold on, at least in this application. All right, so on our run capacitor, got that white wire. I'm going to pull that off, and we're going to snip off the connector. We'll grab our strippers, strip back our casing. I'm going to twist that up, make it a little bit stiffer. Pop in our butt connector and we'll crimp that down. Give it a little tug, it's good to go. Then we'll take our white wire, make sure you don't accidentally go over, you want to make sure you're in here, so that way you can close this all back up. And then we'll pop that in too, and we'll crimp that down. All right, now the yellow wire is going to also have a spade terminal. We're going to be putting it on one of the spade connectors on this side. So what they mean by side is the two different connection points here. So these little black circles with this 4 spade terminals in it is going to be one side, and this will be the other side. So you can put it on any one of those. I'm just going to put it right where we had our white wire previously. I'll pop that down in there. And then for the red one, we're going to be putting that on the other side where the red wire comes down. So I'm just going to go across from that and push that in. Push our wiring down. Now the next part is going to be our black wire, and that is going to differ depending on what kind of model you have here. So they talk about a freeze board, which looks like a circuit board that would be mounted up right in this location here. And they also say that there's a high pressure relay switch. We don't have any of that today, so we're going to be going with the base level of instructions here to get this installed. So because we don't have the freeze board or the high pressure switch / relay, we are going to be looking for the black and purple wire. It's going to have that crimp connector on there. And if you're careful enough, you can reuse these. I like to uncrimp it just a bit, kind of round that back out, so I can pull my wires out and push more back in. Although it's pretty tight, might not be able to get it. We're going to go for it. If not, then I'll probably come back with a butt connector. This is another part where they're going to tell you to use that wire nut that they provide. But we're going to take our black wire, we'll snip off the connector and strip back our casing, and we're going to be putting all 3 of these wires together. Give it a little bit more since that has a lot taken off. And we'll twist these all up together. This may be a little too fat for this to go back on. We're going to find out though. Crimp that down. Give it a good pull. It's not coming off. I'm going to wrap around that with some electrical tape as well, just to be extra safe. Once that's done, we can then tuck our wiring back in here. And then we're going to have to reassemble everything. So we'll grab that plate, we'll put that back on. We're going to get our cover back on. I'm going to use the provided cable ties to tighten up our wiring here, and then also they give you more sealant if you needed it in the kit. That's this guy right here, but like I said, ours was so soft and still malleable, so I ended up just pushing that right back on, no problem. Well, that's going to do it for our look at and installation of Coleman Mach's soft start kit for RV air conditioner units. My name's Kevin, and if you still have some questions about what's going to be the right soft start for your specific air conditioner setup, please feel free to reach out to us via our Ask the Experts link, a comment on this video, or a phone call to our customer service department, and we'd be happy to help you out in your journey.